expecting it to come up so quickly. Young Miami. Okay, so I have been trying to give y'all an update all day long. I was giving y'all a good update earlier today. However, as y'all know, some BS happened with my connection, and you guys could not get the update that I was trying to give y'all. But I know by now you guys have probably already heard everything that was needed to be said earlier. Okay, you've heard about Diddy and the 40K that he put out for Jane's house for her to get it, the 20K for the furniture, the whole feuding between Young Miami and her, and Young Miami getting more than her. And I know you guys have heard all of that stuff, but I kind of just wanted to come live and give y'all my analogy on everything. I'm good, thank you. My analogy on everything, because that's what I haven't been giving you really. I've been giving y'all the updates, I've been giving y'all jokes and all of that stuff, but I haven't really given y'all the breakdown of everything. So I had started writing it, but I didn't finish. There was quite a few things that did go down today. I will give y'all my update from my notes, and I will also let y'all know that I was not there for the afternoon. So a lot of the afternoon I got as hearsay. Okay? I'm not even gonna lie to y'all and front like I was there. I left, but I left for good reason. Because in case you missed it, your girl is officially pressed. Bye. That means that I am credentialed. I am able to go into spaces where all the other news anchors and all of that can go. I can go now too because I'm officially pressed. Hello. So that was a great accomplishment for me to get today. So I'm very happy about that. So you guys, it was worth me not being there this afternoon, right? Right. Anyway. Well, no, that wasn't this afternoon. That was this morning. This afternoon, I left because it was cold. It was drafty and dreary outside. And y'all know the last time that I was out in that kind of weather, I got sick. So I was just like, So, yeah. But either way, I got my press pass. Whew. All right. So quite a few things came up today. The baby daddy of Jane was talked about. Can't talk about. Don't ask me who. I'm not saying. Don't say in the chat. Leave it. We're going to just leave it at that. Y'all make sure that y'all are double tapping that screen and getting them likes up. Yes. Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate y'all. We're official. All right. So if you were here earlier, then this is going to be kind of a repeat, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it to y'all anyway because a couple people are saying that they didn't hear nothing. So that means that there are those of y'all who don't go anywhere else, that y'all do actually just wait for your girl Henny to pour up the Henny, all right? So when I got into court, they were talking about Jane and they were going into consent. And Teny Garegos was on the cross, and the reason why I believe Teny was getting her to say like things like, oh, well, you know, when you were living in LA, you would visit to go see, can y'all hear me good? Or do I need, let me get my microphones just in case y'all can't hear me, because I'm not on the good phone. I'm on the content phone, and the content phone is kind of raggedy. But let me, Henny. Oh, it's right here. Okay, is that better? Is that better for you guys? Is that better? Okay, that's better. Yeah, sounds like in a tunnel, but it'll work. No, I had to put my mic in. Miss Lisa, I had to get the microphone in. All right. So Teny was asking her things about like when she would go to visit Diddy. And she's like, you know, well, when you got on those planes, you got on there willingly, right? And she's like, yeah, you know, she got on that plane with no issue. Like she voluntarily was getting on the planes to go see Diddy. All right. That's basically what Teny got her to say on the stand. But I am going to warn y'all, my It's gonna be kind of, because this is a lot of information that came out. All right, so Teny got her to admit that she was getting on those planes, willingly. Um, she said that she was voluntarily, doing a lot of the things that she was doing, not voluntarily, but she was making the choice to do them. So that's how a lot of this stuff was coming out. So we're going to start off with Jane was living on the East Coast, right? And it was said that she was living on the East Coast so that her child could be closer to the father, so that the father could spend time with the child and all of that. And so Teny made it a point to ask if the father was actually visiting um with the child. And Jane was just like, what does that have to do with anything? Everybody busted out laughing when that happened, because it's the truth. What did that have to do with anything that was going on with the line of questioning that she was being asked? She also said, thank you. She also said that she had moved to the West Coast so she could be closer to her family. And Diddy paid for that move, which we already know that he paid for that, because that was something that was already established. No names in the chat. That was something that was already established when she did her direct examination with the government. So we knew that. When it came down to this house, though, because I'm going to break this down for y'all in piece by piece. Well, you're going to have to wait for that, darling. When it came down to the house, it was established that Jane picked this house because she wanted privacy. And the reason she wanted privacy is because it led back to the hotel nights. Dun, dun, dun. She didn't want the staff having information. Like, it was too much with the privacy that was going on. Staff could get into the phones and, all of that. She just wanted to make it private. So she picked the house that she picked because of the privacy, because of the school, because it was something that was more of Diddy's taste. She wanted Diddy to, when he came to her house, let me actually do this for y'all. She wanted, when Diddy came to her house, we're going to put this one up. This is Jane, okay? This is Jane, y'all. When he came to her house, she wanted him to feel like he was home. So she picked a property that was more his speed. Prior to this, she was already paying her own rent, paying her own way, taking care of herself, and she was living within her means. But when it came down to this home, she said, Diddy liked nice homes with well-manicured lawns and privacy, right? So this house, in her direct examination, she was saying that she picked the house because she wanted her son to have a big house. That was one of the determining factors as to why she wanted this house. She wanted to have a yard, she wanted to have space and all of that. But she wanted the privacy so that they could do those hotel nights at her home. And because the house was big, it was big enough for them to be able to do all of that. I don't know where the son was, or the child, excuse me. I don't know where the child was when all of that was going on. Don't ask. She didn't tell. They didn't ask. There was no need to tell. There was a point in the testimony where Teny Garegos referred to her child as her son, and she told Teny, please refer to my child as my child. Like, she get it together. So the snippiness that you're hearing that she had in the afternoon, it was actually kind of there in the morning too. It was just more subtle than it was on display as it was in the afternoon. I guess by then she was just a little tired of things. Teny had asked Jane Teny asked about when Jane told Diddy that she didn't want to do the hotel nights, because there was a point in time when Diddy was like kind of telling her like, yo, we don't have to do this, for the rest of the year. And it kind of went into this thing where she was talking about, no, I like to do this and I want to do this with you. And, my thing is this, at some point in time, she made the choice the first time to do these things, right? And she went into it to do something because this was his fantasy. And when she talked about this being his fantasy, she did speak on the stand about him being a cuckold, which she called him a cuck for short on the stand. And that's a person who enjoys watching their partner be intimate, hooty hoo, with other people. Like they get off on that. And Teny kind of asked her, like, well, what else is the definition of a cuck? And she was saying that a cuck was somebody that was bisexual, that was living, well, bicurious, that lived vicariously through their partner. So that was something that the defense actually brought to the forefront, questioning Jane. And for me, I'm sitting there like, why would his team want her to keep going to say that? I know you guys have already heard by now from my title, from my thumbnail to other people's titles in their videos, the crack pipe thing. So we got into some of the voice notes between Diddy and Jane when they left from Turks and Caicos. Turks and just forget it. They left from Turks. And in the text threads, you could hear like he's all like, yeah, I had a good time with you. I had so much fun. Get into your bag and da 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 da. Like he's just like hyped. I don't know if he was still high from whatever they was doing on Turks, out there in Turks or what, but he was just very upbeat, very like, yeah. And so he was like, get in your bag, let's go. You got your contract, you got your house. So he mentions the house, right? So she responds back and she, it's playful or whatever between the two of them. And then she sends a note. And in her voice note, she's like, oh, he told her that she was, he says, you my crack pipe. That's my new name for you, crack pipe. Now they asked her why he said that. And she was like, because that was his way of being, he was addicted to her sex. So she does a voice note and she's like, oh, baby, you made me laugh with that. Ha, 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 ha. Basically the addiction goes both ways. And she ends her voice clip off with, yay to the contract. The contract she was speaking of was the love contract. And the love contract was about her getting this house and him paying $10,000 a month. I wouldn't like that compliment. No thanks. I wouldn't want to be called a crack pipe neither. But she said he was her crack pipe too. So here we are, crack piping. Henny glasses in the chat for the crack pipes. Anyway, so as they were talking about this house, Teny brought up a point of like, okay, if you remember from when she was being questioned by the government, she kept saying that Diddy was like saying, okay, well, I'll give you 3 months. And then she was asking for 3 months. And I don't know if y'all are like me. I kept asking, like, what's the significance of 3 months? Like, was she asking for 3 months because that's all she needed to get on her feet? Like, what was the purpose of the 3 months? Well, it turns out that in order for her to get this house, she had to pay first, last, and 2 months rent. So altogether, for her to get the house that she got, it's a brand new house, 4-bedroom, 4.5 baths, okay? And in order for her to get this house, Diddy came out of pocket with $40,000. $40,000 for this house. That's what Diddy paid. Then he turned around and he gave Jane an additional 20 grand for her to be able to furnish the house. Okay. So altogether, when it came down to the initial price tag that Diddy put out for her to have this home with her child, 60 bands blown right there, bang, into the house. But Teny made it a point to point out that, well, did you realize that when he was saying, because Diddy was saying he was going to pay 3 months for her. She was asking for 3 months. He said he was going to pay 3 months for her. So Teny was like, well, if he gave first, last, and 2 months security, like if he put all of that down for you to get the house, then that means that 3 months of your rent was already paid for that home. And he was also offering to pay 3 more months, which means that he was going to be putting out another 30 grand and you weren't going to have to pay rent for 6 months. So it turns out that when he was saying that he was just going to pay for 3 more months or whatever, he was actually giving her a half a year to get her stuff together. Now, this is something that on the test, on the stand, on the witness stand, Jane was like, "Oh, I didn't realize that till just now when you said that." And the way she responded, it was like she really hadn't calculated that that's exactly what was getting ready to happen. Like she would have had a whole 6 months to get a head start on things. And it wasn't like he was just going to snatch it back. She had 6 months to get it up. But not only that, remember, Jane had the OnlyFans, but it also came out that she had a dress line and a swimwear line, and that Diddy invested 20 grand into her dress line, something that she still has to this day. But when Teny brought up the fact that she was saying, like, I couldn't work while I was, working with him, while I was with him, I couldn't work because I had mind fog. And the mind fog came from all of the pills that she was popping with him on those hotel nights. The side effect would be the brain fog. So if you have brain fog, you can't be creative. Like your mental is not clear for you to be able to be in a creative space. So she said she wasn't able to work on the dress line. And as far as her being a content creator, she couldn't be online because being a content creator or being an influencer and an Instagram model, that meant that she had to be present. And if she's busy doing things with Diddy and for Diddy, she couldn't be present in order to do the influencer stuff that she was doing. So that was why she said that her income was all kinds of screwed up. Now, they did also go into asking her, like, why did she feel that she needed permission in order to do the OnlyFans when she, in fact, turned around and did the OnlyFans? And Jane was like, well, we weren't together when I did the OnlyFans. So that was the difference. And she was like, the reason why I wanted his approval for that is because of the type of reputation that OnlyFans has, which we know that's where, when the panoramic came, that's where all of the shake dancers and some corn stars went over there. And I'm going to tell y'all a little history about OnlyFans. OnlyFans was not created for it to become the platform that it was. OnlyFans was supposed to be a place where celebrities were connecting with their fan bases, but it ended up turning into something else. So she wanted to make sure that it was all good with him because in her mind, she's like, I don't want to do something and my man, my partner, has a problem with it. So she went ahead and asked his permission. He didn't give it to her. He didn't give her the blessing, but she went off when they were on a break and did it. And when they got back together, she showed him that, look, I'm doing OnlyFans. This is what I brought in. He was proud of her because she was making money. And apparently she was making enough money to be able to take care of herself, according to what Teny Garegos was saying when they was on the stand, when she was on the stand today. Money. Teny also pointed out that over the course of 3 years, Jane was paid out, in addition to everything that I just told y'all about, in addition to the 20 grand for her dress line, in addition to the 20 grand for the furniture, in addition to the 40 grand that was put out on the house, as well as the 10 bands that were being spent for rent every month for her. She also received $150,000 in wires to her directly. Jane also said that she didn't have to ask for money, that Diddy would just send her money just because. So I don't know. For me, I feel like that was not enough. But let me see what y'all think. I'm gonna put a poll up. I'm gonna put a poll up. I'm gonna put a poll up. Enough money for 3.5 years. I'm sorry, it's 3.5 years. All right. There we go. I'm putting it up so you guys can sound off and y'all could take the poll. All right. So there's the poll, you guys. It's only 2 options because I know Sherm is going to be like, there's no third option. See, there's no third option. It's yes or no. Not on this one. I promise on the next one, we'll do a third option. What is this? Okay. Let me put it here. There we go. I'm going to put this right over in the corner. No, I don't want it on my face. Why would they put the Q&A on my face? Like, that's so disrespectful. That is so disrespectful, the way that they put that over my damn face. Now I'm about to get rid of it. Hold on. Don't put that over my face, YouTube. Hold on. There's got to be a way. Okay, that's better. That's better. Thank you. So y'all got a poll down below and y'all got a question over here. Boom. So y'all can stay interactive in the chat. Okay. Y'all can stay interactive. All right. Oh, I see it. I see it. Some of y'all are saying yes. I see no. I see no. I see yes. I see no. Nope, not at all. I'm getting y'all answers down in the chat. This is dope. I'm going to do this from now on. Yes, he's innocent of the federal charges, not of DV. Well, Trina, technically, they did already establish sex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution. They have already established that. So that's 2 of the 3 charges that have already been established. And I broke that down this morning in case you missed it. So if you missed it, let's go over it again. The sex trafficking came into place. If you want to say that he's innocent of trafficking Jane and he's innocent of trafficking Cassie, he's not innocent of trafficking these escorts that they were calling entertainers. He was trafficking them from state to state and out the country. Also, transportation to engage in prostitution would definitely stick for Cassie and for Jane, because he was moving them around the country and outside of the country to have these freak offs and these hotel nights, and he was transporting them. So those 2 charges, they've already established that. Hey, shout out to London, England. A man can't travel with his woman anymore. That's not what it is. This is not about traveling with his woman. This is about traveling to engage in prostitution. I mean, you don't have to agree. That's the beautiful thing about it. I'm not going to beat you up because you don't agree, but it has been established. Prostitution is illegal. If you're paying somebody in exchange, you're giving them money in exchange for sex, that's prostitution. So, and if you're moving them, like Cabral was in Atlanta and they moved him to Los Angeles, and they flew him out to Los Angeles. They flew him out to New York. They flew him out to Miami. They flew him out to Turks. They flew him out to engage in sex with him and give him money. That's sex trafficking. That's also transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, Teny was up there trying to knock down the force, fraud, or coercion. That's what she was working on, and that's what she was trying to establish that was not, okay? And I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes down to Cassie, there's no doubt in my mind about the force and about the coercion. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But when it comes down to Jane, I get a little when it comes down to her, because I get it that he's holding the roof for her head, and her child over his head. I get it. I get it. And it's like, you don't want to be homeless. You don't want to. Wait a minute. What happened? So if I'm on a trip with my girl and we bring another woman in the bed, she gets paid, I can go to jail. That's prostitution. Yes, that's prostitution. Diddy told her Diddy told her that she could go, but then Diddy would rope her back in again because she was in love with Diddy. Jane was in love with Diddy, and I feel like she's still in love with Diddy now, and Diddy still has feelings for Jane as well. Diddy is still paying this girl's rent to this day, and he's paying for her lawyer. He's paying for her lawyer. You can't say she was obsessed when he was just as obsessed. The man is calling her his crack pipe. He's addicted to her. And looking at the way that he was looking at her at times during testimony, there would be certain times when, yes, Beth, yes, he's paying for her lawyer. The lawyer that is representing her right now as she testifies, Diddy is paying for. So then there's that. He's still paying the 10 grand for her house. And then there's that. I'm just saying. Yes, he's still paying her rent. Get off the stand. I'm sorry. Thank you for the super chat, Jermaine. To all men, be safe at them strip clubs. That's hilarious. He said, be safe at them strip clubs. I'm trying to tell you, listen. Looking at this case, I've said this before. Y'all got to be careful. We all, let me not just say y'all, we all have to be careful in the ways that we are carrying ourselves and the way we are conducting stuff in our everyday lives, okay? Because some of this stuff, okay, the violence that's going on, while people are saying that it is DV, they are talking about it as acts of force. That's what it is. It's the acts of force and not domestic violence. They're charging it as acts of force because that video that came out of him putting hands, feet, and knee bows on Cassie in that elevator. She was trying to leave a freak off. And he was not trying to allow her to leave. There was nothing taken from him. Let's be very clear. There was nothing taken from him. No money. That wasn't even his cell phone that he took. There was nothing of his in those bags. In those bags was all of Cassie's belongings. And I'm telling you what was said in court. Because I know that there was a lot going on. People were saying that was his cell phone. People were saying she stole money from him. I was saying, what if there's drugs in the bag? See how I put myself out there too? Because of stuff that I was saying. Because I was like, they was addicts. Cassie and Diddy, they was addicts. What if she couldn't get high no place else except for at the freak off? So what if she stole the drugs and put it in the bag and he came and beat her ass because she took the drugs? But that wasn't even what it is. It was the fact that he did not want her to go. Like the security guard testified to the fact that he was saying she wasn't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't leaving. And then eventually he was just like, all right, just go, just get out and go. Yes, crack pipes and the Chanel bag. I've already talked about the crack pipe. Now let's get into it, okay? Because Young Miami, this city girl, the city girls have entered the courtroom, you guys. They said Young Miami's name. They called Young Miami Carisha Browning. They talked about Young Miami today. Now I'm going to tell you, this was a case of the girls are fighting, okay? So on the stand, Jane talked about how in the beginning, she knew that he was going to have other females. She knew this already. She was okay with it. Diddy told her he was polyamorous. So she was like, all right, fine. But when it came down to Young Miami and the way that Diddy was openly public with her, that grinded Jane's gears because Jane was like, I was here first before her and all of that. But they had agreed that their relationship should be private. So Diddy started seeing Young Miami. We started seeing them pop up everywhere. Young Miami is talking about they go together real bad and all of that stuff. And Jane would be losing her. Okay. And so Jane, they talked about a time when Jane got upset because for Young Miami's birthday, she got a Maybach. So guess what? She gets a Maybach. And Jane was like, okay, I'm going to get a Van Cleef necklace. If she gets a Maybach, I'm going to get a Van Cleef necklace. I hope I said that right. Then there was the whole thing with the bags, how Young Miami got a Chanel bag and Gina got a Chanel bag and she got a Bottega bag. Okay. And that's where she started getting a little slick with Teny Garegos, because Teny was like, well, what is a Bottega bag? And she's like, oh, I'm sure you have one. And then she was like, well, how much is a Bottega bag? And she's like, whatever the price of my body is. Now, a lot of people misinterpreted what she was saying by that, what she was meaning when she was getting snippy about it. But she was basically saying like she felt like he felt her body was cheap because she got a bag that was less than what Young Miami and Gina had gotten. So she ended up getting her Chanel bag eventually, but she was pissed off. And she was like, the reason why she felt the way that she was feeling is because she was like, thank you for the gifts, you guys. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the gifts. Y'all hit them likes, get them likes up, interact, take the poll, answer the question. Let's keep this conversation flowing. So she said, he would see her out in the open with him, or, she's on Diddy's arm. And she was like, she was okay with him having other women because it wasn't open out in the open. It wasn't being done publicly. But when it came down to Young Miami, we seen them. They were on podcasts. They were on red carpet. She's going to Met Gala with him. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Welcome to the bar, Mama K. So, she's like, this wasn't right. I was not appreciating the fact that this woman is on his arm and is being thrown in my face so blatantly. That's what it is. And Diddy is older than Caresha. So when she was talking about, oh, I called him a pedophile, this is what she was talking about. She said this relationship really disturbed her. She said that yesterday, but they weren't saying names. Today they said a name. They put a name on it. And I'm going to say this right here to everyone, woman or man. Stop saying that you're okay with something that you're really not going to be okay with. And I feel like in this instance, everybody can take a lesson, because what happens when you go into a relationship initially, you don't have feelings for the person. But over time, you start to develop feelings. You start to develop connection. And when you're doing stuff to the level that Jane and Diddy were doing things, do you really think that there's not going to come a point in time when a person is going to feel violated and played with, when a new person comes into the picture and now you're showering them with gifts? She's watching Diddy spend $1 million on going to London for his birthday with Young Miami. He's watching them flirt and talk about how long they're sitting up having, intimate relations with one another. Like, she's watching this stuff. It's on Instagram. She said everything that she saw was Instagram. That's what she was seeing. So it's best to just be honest up front and say, you know what, I don't think that that's a good idea. And I really don't think that's a good idea for anybody, especially if you end up being with somebody for a long period of time. If this is somebody that you're just knocking down for the summer, then that's something different. But once you start going beyond and you see that you've been with this person for 6 months and now you're starting to develop some type of feelings for this person, you can no longer stay in the original agreed situationship that you're in, because it's going to end up being something that you don't want. So, Cassie actually was jealous of Kim because Kim was getting the time on the holidays and things of that nature. Did he consider Kim to be his soulmate? So Cassie had a jealousy towards Kim, which is something that she admitted. And Jane also admitted to there being some jealousy towards Young Miami as well. So that's one thing that I can say that I give all females that were involved in this situation the credit for, is the fact that they were able to come out and say, look, it bothered me. I was not happy with the situation. I was very much jealous of the attention and the time that the other person was getting, and it made me feel away. So I can always respect the honesty that people give, even if we don't like the honesty that's coming out of their mouths. So yeah, we were talking about the house. We were talking about how, she got it. She even got furniture, she said, that fit Diddy's taste. Like, she was making, the way she was testifying is like she was making sure that the house was comfortable for her and her son, but she also was making the house comfortable for Diddy as well. And those red lights that he liked to have on those hotel nights were not just hotel night lights, because she said he also used them when they would do the hotel nights in her house or his house. Now, get that, because the hotel nights that they moved, when they moved them from the hotels to the house, it wasn't just her house. And in fact, she only talked about a hotel night at her house one time yesterday. She also talked about hotel nights that happened at his house. So it wasn't just like they stopped doing them in the hotel and her house became the brothel. His house was being used for it as well. They stopped going to the hotels. See, Nino, you missed the disclaimer in the beginning of this. I said I don't know because nobody ever asked and she never testified to where the son was. So I'm going to assume he wasn't in the house. I'm going to assume that, okay? I'm going to assume that. So we talked about that already. We talked about them being excited about the contract. Both of them were excited about the contract. When it came down to her rent being paid, Diddy made sure that Robin Greenhill had that money paid on time. Every month it was being paid on time. Now, one time when she and Diddy were getting into it, Robin reached out to her and told her, like, listen, your lease is up in April. Thank you for the super chat. Jermaine said, them red lights turned Diddy freaky up 1,000 points. That's why I started making all of his thumbnails red. And I'm about to go in and make sure every thumbnail is red that I can when I have some free time. That's why every thumbnail you see it's red, it's Diddy content. Okay. That's how you're going to know. That's what we're talking about. But her rent was being paid, and like I told y'all, it's still being paid to this day. And she said when Diddy threatened to stop paying the rent, she felt like he used that as a tool. And Jane would say that she's not they got into it one time and Diddy threatened not to pay the rent, right? And so that's when she was saying she felt like he was using that as a tool. And she clapped back. And I told y'all this yesterday. And she was like, she told him that she's not Cassie and she's not Gina, that she will blow him up. That's what she told him, that she would expose. She wasn't gonna go away quietly. Like, and that's one of the things that she was saying. Like, she felt like she deserved more because of what she was going through behind the scenes as far as doing these hotel nights. Because she made it very clear that she was doing these hotel nights for him, to appease him, to make him happy, because it was something that she was doing to get to the intimate parts with him. Meaning, she wanted those cuddle times and that alone time. She testified to how she would massage his feet, how she would bathe him, like just take care of him, cook for him, lay up with him and watch. What Dateline? Diddy likes Dateline. I like Dateline too, but now I'm going to be sitting back wondering, like, did Diddy watch this Dateline? But that would happen after the freak offs. She would get her quality time after the freak offs. There were very few times when it was just her and Diddy. Once they introduced this, she called Diddy a cuck, okay? A cuckold. All right. And what a cuckold is, for those of y'all who don't know or didn't hear it anywhere else yet, a cuckold is somebody who enjoys watching their partner or significant other have intimate relations with somebody else. Like, it turns them on. And it sounds to me like that fit the profile so much, because he was calling it voyeurism, but it wasn't voyeurism. It was a cuck, because he would be so turned on. Remember, there were times Cassie had testified that sometimes he would push, like tell the escort to move to the side, or he would get up and go in the room and she would get up and go in the room with him and then come back out and ask the escort if they wanted to finish, because Diddy would be so turned on. And you guys, the Astro Glide was for Diddy to self-pleasure himself with, which is why there would be more bottles of baby oil going through than the Astro Glide. Clocked it, okay? But Teny asked further what the second definition of a cuck was, and it said that a cuck is a person who is bisexual and lives vicariously through their partner, watching them have the experience. And that explained a lot because if you remember when Jane was talking about picking out the escort so that she could have some kind of say and control over who would be on her body, they were talking about the guys member, her and Diddy. They would be talking about the guys member, discussing it together. I was just a little taken back because I was just like, dang, like this is his process. These are his lawyers. Teny Garegos is his lawyer, and Teny Garegos pushed Jane to answer that question because Jane didn't say anything about a cuckold being bisexual till Teny asked about it. So you can't say that she said it to try to, tarnish Diddy or say something bad about him. She didn't say it until Teny asked her to say it. And that's a fact. That's a fact. I can't wait to get the transcript. When I get the transcript, I will read that because I know that there's some spent narratives and I know people out there saying, oh, she tried to play with Diddy and say, no, Teny asked her, what else does it say about a cuck? I guess when you have to become a cuck. Listen, I don't know. What's up, Beyonce's lace front? Hey, uniquely. They talked about in the beginning. Okay, now let's go back to that. Because if y'all remember, I had told y'all, well, y'all had already heard that the way Jane met Diddy was on a girls trip because Diddy was messing with her friend. And it turns out that he was messing with her friend either for a year or for years. I don't remember which one it was, whichever the time frame was, but the friend was messing with her friend had been seeing him a few years. That's what it was. A few years. Her friend had been seeing him for a few years, and Jane had also seen one of Jane's other friends was seeing somebody else that Diddy knew as well. So the relationship had to be on the down low, okay? But she did not come out till her friend, they didn't start really messing with each other until her friend was gone and had moved on, and she knew. And Teny made it a point to harp on this part right here because I feel like that was something that Diddy may have wanted to have it stressed, is that she knew that the friend was seeing somebody else behind Diddy's back, because shortly after they went on that girls trip, this girl went off and got engaged to the other guy and moved overseas. So Jane knew that this woman was not being faithful to Diddy. But anyway, they went on to talk about how the relationship was supposed to be private, and that in 2021, Jane texts KK, who, by the way, was not very fond of her. KK was not fond of Jane at all. Oh, you cannot, Vlad banned me. You cannot say names in my chat, honey. You cannot say names in my chat. I'm under court order, unlike Vlad and academics and all of them. They're not in the courtroom, so they're free to say whatever they want to say. I, on the other hand, cannot. I am under a court order with the federal judge. Okay. The honorable Judge Iran Submarinian told everybody in that courtroom that they could not disclose the identity of Jane, nor were we to disclose the identity of Mia. And I have not disclosed the identity of neither one. And you guys can't even talk about it in the chat because I'll get in trouble for that. That's it. Okay, now you're going into timeout, hon. Sorry. That's 2. Now, uniquely, I already timed them out. Y'all got to stop hiding everybody from the channel. Just time them out. Just time them out. She should have ran if she was not happy with him. But that's the thing. She was happy with him. She wanted to be with him. She wanted to be with him. She loved him. So it's like, I don't know. But anyway, KK did not take a liking to Jane at all. Okay. But she communicated with her because that's who Diddy was with. But anyway, she had text KK back in 2021. What do you mean? What's wrong with my moderators? There's nothing wrong with them. Oh, I told him no. I talked to him. Oh, okay. So you would know better than me. So if I talked to him already yesterday, then yeah, he going, bye. See you later. I was being nice. I was just putting, you know. Thank you for the super chat. Jermaine says, serious question. Why is no one saying that these women use Diddy? He had money, drugs, power, but they saw opportunity. Well, I did speak on that this morning, but if you want me to speak on it again, I do definitely believe that it was a billionaire boy's bait that got them in, but nobody signed up for this. That part I will say, nobody signed up for this. He threw the line out there. She ate it up. And she also did say something inside of she did also say something in her testimony today. She said that she attracts men who provide. She attracts providers. That's what she said. So, yeah, I mean, if anybody is saying, oh no, I don't think that money even played a factor into any of this, yes, it did. I'm going to say money played a factor as the attraction, because here's why. Before somebody thinks I'm being shallow, let me be very clear on what I'm saying right now. Diddy had the opportunity to show these girls a lifestyle that they otherwise would not have been accustomed to. Diddy was able to fly them around on private jets. Diddy was able to take them on vacations that they otherwise would not have probably been on. He was able to gift them things that they probably otherwise would not have been gifted. He was able to open them up. Look, Jane went from having living in an apartment that was within her means to actually moving into a home that was double the square footage that she was living in before, and the rent was $10,000. So, in that essence, yeah, you opened her up to a whole different life, and then you opened her up to some more. Cassie was an artist. Cassie had a job, and so did Jane. But if Jane is coming down from off of e-pills and always catering to Diddy's wants and needs, when did she have time to work on her businesses when her whole life evolved around Diddy and evolved around these nights that she was having with him? But when it comes down to Cassie explained it perfectly. Cassie said, freak offs became my job. And that's basically what Jane said too, that this became their job. Because it was always to be in a state of preparation. It was always to be in a state of ready to go at the drop of a dime. It was always in that state. Now, granted, I will say, as a content creator and an influencer, you probably could have still posted your pictures and you could have still did money, but she couldn't do the branding deals that she was doing before. And she said, just off the top of her head, 2 branding deals would be $50,000 for the month. Just 2. So she was like, and if I get more throughout the month of branding deals, then I would be able to make more money. But the thing is, if she's always in a state, and that's something that she testified to, she had to have childcare ready at the drop of a dime, because if he called, she had to be ready to fly out. She had to keep her hair done. She had to keep her nails done. She had to keep herself tan. She had to keep herself in a state of preparation. So I feel like she could have still done her branding, because it's not like Diddy was calling her every day. But if you're doing these hotel nights or these freak offs majority or big bulk of the week or whatever, however it's going down, like Cassie said, she was in hotels doing freak offs once a week, and these freak offs will last 3 to 4 days. Jane was saying that they would be in hotels and the freak offs will last anywhere from 24 hours, 30 hours to 2 or 3 days of her having freak offs as well, with the maximum amount of hours that she was in a hotel room at 70 hours. 70 hours. That's a lot of time to be inside of a hotel smacking, getting. But now Cassie, oh, she could have left and got a regular job. Girl, please, we got to go back through down this road of abuse and mental control. There's a lot of psychological stuff that's going on that a lot of people miss out on. Now, I agree with some points that may make people so uncomfortable, but I don't agree with every point because at the end of the day, there was clear mental manipulation that was happening here in both instances. And I really dislike the fact that as people, we don't acknowledge that. We don't. And I also don't like, yes, sex workers. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Exactly, Goldie. That's what they became for him. Cassie and Jane were sex workers. This lady, Robin Greenhill, was also mentioned. Um, Thank you so much, Tony Miles. This lady, Robin Greenhill, was also mentioned in Little Rod's lawsuit. And Little Rod explained how Robin Greenhill made sure that the sex workers got paid. Robin Greenhill is the one that's making sure that her rent gets paid. So this was her job. Now, when it comes down to Cassie and everybody's saying that she needs to get a job. Cassie's job was being a singer, being a model, and Diddy controlled every aspect of her life. We heard that throughout testimony, time and time again, how he would be like, okay, work with Cassie on this project. And then all of a sudden they would get a call like, nope, we're not doing that no more. Him and Cassie would get into it. We heard over and over again about her being having hands, feet, and knee bows put on her. We heard about her face being stomped in an Escalade. We watched her get hands, feet, and knee bows put on her on a videotape. So while Cassie's stuff is loud, live, and in our face, she had a job. But unfortunately, she wasn't able to work that job. He made Cassie's life became his life. Now, when it came down to Jane, it seems like it was the same thing that was going on. And the crazy part about it is, if you look at the parallels in both of them, both of these women had a jealousy towards another woman that he was dealing with. With Cassie, it was Kim. With Jane, it is Young Miami. You want to grind Jane's gears? Bring up Young Miami. Bring up Young Miami. Now, Young Miami has gotten on her podcast and talked about how she liked to be peed on. And then we hear this testimony that came from Cassie about her being peed on, people peeing in her mouth and her choking and all of that stuff. And then we hear her say it. We don't know what Young Miami is doing. Maybe they're doing orgies. I don't know. Allegedly. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But Jane did not testify to her being urinated on. She didn't testify to any of that, but she did testify to UTIs and having yeast infections. She didn't say she caught mouth sores, but she damn sure said she had UTIs and yeast infections. And she mentioned how Diddy got pissed with her one time when she asked him to hold off on a freak off. She wiped herself, literally wiped herself, and showed that her cycle was coming down. And he got angry with her and threatened to take the house away. They talked about this yesterday. That's a whole lot of nakedness. It is. It really, really is. Triangulation. What about Carisha? Was all this before her time? This was before and during her time that this was going on, because as Diddy was out publicly with Carisha, he was still going to hotel nights with Jane. Oh my God, swagger low. We not gonna start that rumor. Don't say that started over here. She said, I need to go throw up. Threatening to take her house is dirty. He knew exactly what he was doing. And it would come when she would say she didn't want to do the hotel parties no more. Like, regardless to what the defense tried to establish today. Yesterday, I feel like there was damage already done because unlike Cassie, Jane had receipts. Jane had voice clips. Jane had text messages that backed up a lot of stuff. And while, yes, the defense had text messages today that were showing that she was talking freaky about how she was, she would have fantasies about the escorts. Jane already testified to us yesterday that she would write him stuff like he wanted her to write him these erotic things. She testified to how Diddy would have her ask these guys to send her sneak pics for him. She testified to that yesterday. And Ray J always come through with his Ray J was probably the dealer. From what we're hearing, Ray J was a dealer. He literally owned them like Blue was doing Krishan. They learned that ish from him because they all act alike. Oh, damn, Yvette. Can we not bring Krishan into this, please? She over there living her best life. Yeah, everything she said she did was at his direction. Did he need a freaky prison pen pal? I'm not sure because that is his actual lifestyle. Wait a minute. Someone got their own fantasy. It comes down to choice. There is a choice that everybody has to make. You add to it the fact that you put yourself, here's the thing. Here's what I will say. She put herself in a situation by allowing him to have the upper hand over her financially. What do you mean by that? What I mean by that is she allowed his income to become her income. And aside from the income that he was giving her, and she was only getting $4,700 in child support for her son. So between those two incomes coming in, you allowed him to control the purse strings. You allowed him to have control over the roof of your head. Like you allowed that to happen, and it puts you in a bad situation. Now with Cassie, things were different. And please don't come for me. Hear me out before y'all start trying to come for me saying, oh, Henny, you say don't victim shame and you up here victim shaming. I'm not victim shaming. I'm speaking real. Cassie went into this as an artist. She ended up dealing with Diddy. So there's something completely different when it came to the dynamics of Cassie and Diddy because she was artist, she was girlfriend, she was sex worker. Those were her three titles, okay? With Jane, she went from having her own apartment to moving to the West Coast. She says to be closer to her family, but I don't know. Maybe it was to be closer to her family, but she was also 20 minutes away from Diddy's Mapleton house on a good day. So she was over there and she was that's where this house was. This house also did not come into play until 2023. She was dealing with Diddy in 2001. So that means 2001, 2002, 2003, you already like 3 years in with him. 1, 2, 3, 2 years in with him. Y'all are already doing these hotel nights by this point in time. And now you've given him control over the roof over your head. Now, I don't know if y'all know what that's like to have someone else in control of the roof over your head. Fellas, y'all probably know how that feels to have somebody in control over the roof over your head and they could tell you to get out at any point in time. Yes, 2021 to the present. Yes. In 2023, you made the choice to move and get a place to stay. You went from an apartment to a house because Diddy agreed to pay for the rent. What did you think was going to happen? You didn't think. You didn't think that he would ever, I could tell you, probably as a mother, and I'm speculating here, this is speculation, as a mother, and being that he's a father, she probably never imagined that he would threaten to take the house away. And Teny Garegos asked her, when he threatened to take a house away, did you really think that he was going to do it? And she really wasn't sure if he was going to do it or not. But she stayed in the house. She stayed in that house for whatever the reasons are, be it that she stayed in the house because that is where she wanted to have her son at. The house that she lives in is in a gated community. It has a backyard. It has a lot of space for her kid. It's in a good school zone. So, I mean, if that's the reason that you're staying, or if you're staying because of Diddy, the point of the matter is at this particular point in time, what I will say about Jane is I hope that she's putting herself in a better position to where she would be able to take care of her own bills, her house, all of that without Diddy's help. But I don't know, because the fact of the matter is, when Jane was on that stand and she was testifying yesterday, Jane still loves Diddy. Even today, when they played the videos of her and him in Turks and in the Bahamas, she was smiling. You could see her face lit up. And guess what? Diddy was sitting there watching and doing like this as he was watching the videos. Like they were both reminiscing on that time, and you got to see them reminiscing in real time together. Now, I don't know what he was reminiscing about. I don't know what he was thinking about during that time. But listening to this girl testify and talk about Diddy, she still loves that man. And the crazy part is, Cassie said she doesn't hate him. She still loves him. Now, she's not in love with him. She got her husband, but she still has love for Diddy. Guess what? Just about everybody who testified against Diddy still has love for Diddy. That's a possibility too, CJ. Oh, and the other thing, y'all probably heard about this already, but remember I told y'all that they were trying to get a mistrial? The judge denied it. Okay. And in court, I was actually correct. Do. So while CNN and everybody else was talking about it was the second time that they called a mistrial, it wasn't. It was the third. It was just that Brian Steele never put in the paperwork, but he said it on record in the court that he wanted to move to strike for he wanted to move for a mistrial while they were doing a sidebar. And today the defense is going to say, I don't know why the government is saying 3 times when it's only been 2. And so the government said, Brian Steele said it during the Kid Cudi testimony. Yeah, in the court. That's 3. That's 3. So, toot my own horn because Henny was right. I love it when I be right. I don't love it just so that I can boost my head up. I love it because the simple fact is that means that I'm paying attention. I'm paying very much attention. And I love that for us. I love that for us. Y'all get them likes up. Get them likes up. Girl, if Diddy gonna pay that, I'm sure a lot more would too. Keep going, girl. LOL. Jane would be running in them banks cracking cards instead of doing But and also when it came down to Brianna, baby, the judge said what I said. It was like they, I don't know if they sat and watched my videos. If they did, shout out to Judge Submarini and the honorable judge. Shout out to the government for watching the videos, because baby, it sounded like they sat in these lives and they heard everything that I said and they watched what I put up and they was like, oh yeah. Because when they tried to hit Brianna Bana with perjury, the judge said that was a long time ago and she was taking a lot of drugs. Did I? Henny Glasses in the chat if y'all remember me saying that. Henny Glasses in the chat if y'all remember me saying that. Okay. Okay. Ah, there they go. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they go. All right, so let me go to it so that I could quote it correctly for you guys. So also overnight, the defense tried to move to strike out the notes that Jane was using, but the judge deemed that they were admissible. That was something that came through in the email. When it came down to Brianna's, the judge said, okay, let's read it just so we have it here in the video. Miss Shapiro was like, Miss Bongalone said clearly that the balcony incident took place on September 26th. We believed she perjured herself and they knew. The government elicited that all injured were on the same day. So the judge said, could we just say that the government screwed up, giving Miss Westmoreland a rare Perry Mason moment in federal court? That defense back in its war zone could say, great job. So, they said, okay. But then the judge said, when they said that they feel like she perjured herself, the judge said this happened years ago. Miss Bongalon was taking a lot of drugs. Thank God she's sober. I rest my case. I said the same damn thing. I said she was on a lot of drugs back then. She probably can't remember all of the details. And that's probably why it probably happened days before, because that picture of that bruise that they showed us, it was like a reddish purple. So it happened before the day that she took the picture. And she was on a lot of drugs back then. Her, Cassie, Diddy was on a lot of drugs. Oh, speaking of on a lot of drugs, baby, let me tell you what she said about Diddy in court to his face, and he ain't like it at all. Because I told y'all, we in the overflow room. I could see Diddy's face. The camera is up here. We can see his face. We can see him. We can see him in the overflow room. We ain't getting a side profile. We not getting the back of his head. We see him straight on. Child. Jane sat up there and she said that when they first went to Turks for her island birthday, she was sitting across from him on the plane, on that private jet. And she was looking at him and she said she could tell that he wasn't taking care of himself. Like he was taking care of himself on the outside, but she said he wasn't taking care of himself on the inside. Baby, she said his eyes were yellow with jaundice. I said, did she just say Diddy got jaundice? She did. She said his gums were gray. I got pink gums. She said his gums were gray. And she said his hands were shaking from alcohol abuse. What did you say? Yvette said, you're doing a great job out there. All you're learning more about being a journalist, meeting others, eager to learn as well is what I love most about it. The case itself is cray. History. And yes, history in the making. It definitely is. Yes, honey. She said gray gums. And so she said that she tried to help. I said, well, damn. But yet he had the nerve to tell her that he didn't like her teeth and sent her to go get them teeth fixed. Now, didn't he? Child. Listen, she said she told him about a place in Thailand. She was like, there's a rehab in Thailand that you could go to, and kind of kick some of this. And, she was offering him supplements. She said Diddy suffers from depression. He was taking Xanax and Prozac. I said Prozac. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that Diddy was taking, hey, Sensei, what's poppin'? You mean to tell me that this man was dealing with mental health issues, yet he was taking those prescription medications plus ketamine, plus cocaine, plus Molly, plus MDMA, plus ecstasy, plus smoking weed, plus drinking? No wonder he overdosed. Or did y'all forget that he overdosed? Because he overdosed. Remember Cassie told us about him overdosing? And then Gene Deal, shout out to Big Gene. Gene Deal told us about places which we already knew, but he solidified it, stamped it. There are hospitals that celebrities can go to when they are having an overdose. Scorpio shit is just toxic. It is. It really is. That celebrities go to when they have these overdoses and the hospital can't tell. They can't leak the information. There's also rehabilitation centers that they go to that we would never know about. Like at the end of the day, until this case hit the fan, we had no idea that Diddy was on drugs. I would have never guessed because all we ever see him do is smoke weed and drink a little Ciroc or De Leon, or at least he used to when he owned it. So we had no idea that that's what he was doing. And the crazy part about all of this is, remember, we were hearing about him using ketamine or abusing ketamine, I should say, because there is ketamine therapy that when used at a therapeutic level, it can help with depression. Okay. But when abused, it becomes something else. That's when it becomes a hallucinogenic and people take it to get high and hallucinate. Okay. Like LSD, which remember, it was said that there was some acid around too. Thank you for the sticker. I don't know how I feel about the happy poop, but but you can also abuse ketamine, and Diddy was doing ketamine with Cassie way back when. Why he sat up there? Why did Jane say to me that Diddy told her he had done a lot of research on ketamine and how ketamine could help with the depression? And I'm saying to myself, girl, did you not? You and shrooms, and there was another one that he was taking that's used in Africa for ritualistic purposes, but it could also help you go to sleep and all this other stuff. I said, girl, you must not have known. When he told you that, you ain't know because the lawsuit ain't hit and the trial ain't happened. Baby. Oh, and don't forget the Tusi. He was taking Tusi too. I forgot. Tusi. But he running the G on her about the ketamine. You were already taking ketamine. What are we talking about? Oh, and another thing when it comes down to these substances, right? So the defense had asked her, they was like, oh, so he had you go and bring drugs from Los Angeles to Florida for him, right? So she's like, yeah. So they pulled up these text messages between her and KK. And I don't know what they were supposed to be proving, because at the end of the day, all it did was back up what she was saying about how she went to the house and picked up the drugs and put it in her luggage and went on and flew out there to Florida and gave them to Diddy. And it turns out that it was e-pills. So it didn't discredit her saying that she trafficked the stuff and that KK was involved. Where the hell is KK? Yes. Jane has immunity, you guys. Jane has immunity, just so you know. Listen, I didn't hear Cassie say that she had immunity. I also didn't hear Mia say that she had immunity. But these people definitely was not going to come in here and testify unless they had worked out some type of deal with the government or they had immunity. But I told you guys this stuff in the beginning when y'all were saying it's a one-person RICO. There's no such thing as a one-person RICO. I was telling you the reason why it's a one-person RICO is because everybody has either plea agreements with the government or they have worked out a form of immunity. And there it is. It's coming out. It's a form, their immunity deals, immunity. She has immunity. She could definitely be charged with sex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution, as could Cassie. She could also be charged with drug trafficking, as could Cassie. To my knowledge, KK has not gotten pinched. Exactly, Crystal. See, because Diddy is the bigger fish, they want Diddy. They don't care about them other people. They want Diddy. Do you think he showed others the tape? I don't think he showed anybody else the tape. That I don't think he did. I don't think he did that. I don't think Diddy went on no type of, hey, yo, bro, come look at this videotape. Mm-mm. She said, I be paranoid as F when I fly like a nuggie gonna be found at the bottom of my purse. Listen, I don't know how she was doing it. I be scared to travel with my vapes. Do you hear me? The one thing that I can say that I took away from all of this, afraid he showed them on OnlyFans. Oh, let me ask y'all something. So I did a short. I put the short video up, and I was talking about how yesterday Jane had revealed that Cabral, her fan fave as an escort, that he tried to blackmail her and said that Diddy had picked up his phone one time and accidentally recorded one of these hotel nights of her, and he threatened to leak it out onto the on the dark web, right? So she reached out to Diddy, and Diddy put her in touch with the lawyer. And when she told Cabral that she had legal representation and she wasn't going to be communicating with him no more, she ends up getting contacted from a big media company, right? Diddy tries to get ahead of it. The tape is never released. We don't know what happened to the tape. The same thing happened with Cassie, though, with Jonathan Oddie. Jonathan Oddie said that he had a secret recording of Cassie and he doing a freak off. And Cassie freaked out and was like, I will unalive you. I will get somebody to unalive you. And after you're unalived, I'll have them unalive you again. But it's never said what happened with the tape. In both instances, nobody knows what happened with these tapes. All right, so we're going to end this poll, okay? But 74% of you, thank you for the sticker, D. 74% of you said hell no, that 150,000 was not enough money for 3.5 years for Jane. Some of y'all said hell yeah, 25%. So boom. But now let me ask y'all this. Hmm. I don't know how to word this question. I'm trying to think of how to word it. Okay. And Sherm, I'm going to give you 3. Sherm will be very happy because there are 3 options. So the question in the new poll is, did Diddy set the X tapes up with the escorts? Did he have something to do with that? Dun, dun, dun. And I'm going to give y'all a question as well. I'm going to give y'all a question. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so y'all are gonna get a new question. I think this question might be over me a little bit. Yeah, I think that the question is gonna be over me a little bit. Can I put it here? No. I'll just put it there. It's fine. I don't care. I want to know. I want y'all to tell me what y'all think. I want to know. Okay, misbehaving. Somebody said with Clive, the government got them, the FBI got them. Do you mean did he pay them to blackmail the ladies? Yes. Or did he just have them set it up? And I'm going to tell you why I'm asking this question. Because I find it highly suspicious that the ladies were the ones being blackmailed and not him. I find it highly suspicious that the ladies are, there we go, that's better. That the females were the ones that were contacted. Okay. Jonathan Oddie wanted money. Now, when Cabral reached out to Jane, she offered him money straight off the bat. Straight off the bat. Absolutely, he did to get them to cooperate. It's situations like this that make me not want to let anyone take care of me. Oh, Lord. I was looking for it today, but it was not live, misbehaving. But tomorrow, for sure, we hanging out. I don't know what you're talking about. And he got the money. That's what I'm saying. Why would you reach out to the girls and not to him? Funny how it never was a leak from the dudes about the tapes. Yeah, I think Diddy could have. We're just asking questions. I'm not accusing. I'm not accusing him. I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying none of that. I'm just asking a question. But didn't Jane say that he cried when she told him about the bribery? Who? Who? You say Diddy cried? No. In custody and in Diddy's stash. It's crazy how he treated the females, but he couldn't keep the same energy with the dudes. He didn't cry when she said, when she told, kid, where'd you get that from, girl? Yes, this is all allegedly. This is a question. I'm not saying he did. I'm just asking a question. I'm asking y'all the question. They all covered themselves. But that was just a question that I had. You got immunity. You got, yeah, you get immunity and you get immunity. I wonder if Bear got threatened. No, from what we've heard, I didn't hear Bear get threatened. What I heard was Diddy was jealous. Diddy was jealous of Bear. Diddy was jealous of the fact that her and Anton had a conversation. Like Diddy was mad, okay, mad with jealousy. So just like people are talking about, Jane was jealous and Cassie was jealous, Diddy was jealous too. Diddy was jealous too. Did he find out who Bear was? She told him who Bear was, but I don't know if he actually went and and did his own digging. Sorry, I was reading something. Okay. Oh, he definitely kept the same energy with men. He slapped the ish out of Drake in public. Is there video of that? Because I missed that. Did he probably offer to lick her tears before he cries? I know I'm taking this piss henny. He wanted everybody's girl, so he really bribed the females because he knew those dudes wasn't gonna control over the single parent, and he always wanted the women, but he really liked the guys he had. I don't know. Did he say you can't get no without me? Would you choose the Diddy or the bear? I look, with everything that was going on, I think I would choose bear. Drake ain't a man, that don't count. Oh my God. Cuddy don't count either. Oh my God. Here y'all go. Wait a minute. He did try allegedly to have Kid Cudi's car blown up. Okay. And he broke into Kid Cudi's house. Okay. Looking for Cassie. I don't have much facts on the Diddy case. I'm just going by what I see in the news. But your opinion, is the allegations true or false in your opinion? Cuddy wear dresses. I think some things, are a stretch, but I do believe that a lot of this stuff is true only because of the consistency that you're hearing when these people are getting up on the stand and they're talking about the unfair treatment. They're talking about the things that they've been exposed to, have being at a job and seeing a boss treat people a certain way. Mia testified to having a laptop thrown at her head, hearing that he yells and throws things at different people for different things, people watching this happen, people hearing what's happening. That does something to people mentally. um I think with all of the drug use that Diddy was doing for the course of years, I think there's a lot of things that Diddy has done that he probably doesn't have a clear memory of. So he doesn't even believe that these things happen because he doesn't remember. But the people who it happened to, they remember clear as day because that's a part of their trauma. I think that a lot of the rage, just like we saw, if they were doing a freak off and that CNN video happened and she was trying to leave, what you're watching is somebody who's high, out of his mind, behaving inappropriately because he's not getting his way. And if that's how you behave, and this is just my opinion, if you behave that way when you can't get your way when you're high, then why would I not believe that you would behave in ways similar to that when you're not high, when you don't get your way? He beat Cassie because Cassie was trying to leave and he didn't want her to. That's the part that people are missing. That's what that whole CNN video was. That whole hotel incident. There was no stolen money. That was not Diddy's phone. That was Cassie's phone. That was Cassie's bag. And Cassie was trying to leave. And you got to look at the whole picture. At the end of the day, Cassie's leaving out of a hotel barefoot, putting her shoes on at the elevator, trying to leave. And he tried to drag her back to stay. He took her property and went back to the room with it, then came back, took her phone, threw a vase at her. You cannot tell me that somewhere in your mind that those types of behaviors, you really don't think that those things were happening. Weren't happening. You can't tell me that you can't see when Mia was sitting there testifying and she's sobbing about him throwing. Well, she didn't sob. I'm sorry. I'm lying. I said sobbing because I'm looking at this picture. And she's testifying to him getting upset and throwing a computer at her. And it seems like whenever he doesn't get what he wants, he responded badly. He responded violently. He responded nastily to people. But then would turn around and tell you, I love you. So when you hear Mia saying to him, saying he did all of these horrible things to me, but I'm still saying that I love him. This is the behavior that he was doing to Jane, because he would say all of these horrible things to her in these text messages and then turn around and say, I love you. And I know people don't want to hear that. But to me, I believe that all of the stuff that has happened, I'm not saying and giving an excuse of it being all because he was on drugs, but I believe that drugs played a big part in this. Diddy is a high functioning addict. There was a video I was watching of him for his birthday when he was going to London with Young Miami. And in that video, he said, I don't sleep. God blessed me with a peaceful night of sleep. Hey, brother. Right. And you mix all of that drug use with mental health issues. You have somebody that is capable of the things that these people are accusing him of. This is what I'm saying. So when I'm saying that I believe he did a lot of these things, that's the standpoint that I'm coming from. That's why I say, for everybody saying free Diddy, are you saying free him to a rehab? Free him to intensive therapy? Or are you just saying to free him because you feel like he's innocent? My opinion on Diddy is based on the Notorious album. Because of that, my opinion of him is in the middle. But see, that's the thing. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not bashing you if you feel like he's innocent. I'm not bashing you. Everybody has a safe space here on my page where we could talk, where you could say how you feel. I may get disappointed in some of the people, like, oh, dang. But I'm never going to go at somebody because their opinion is different. I come at people when they come at me. Sadly, Puff trauma started in high school, so he needs intensive therapy. And this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Can we have real conversation about what's going on in this trial before we rush to judgment of guilt or innocence? Because guess what? We are only halfway through this trial. We just entered into week 5. The defense still hasn't put their witnesses on yet. So we still don't have the whole case. Hell, the jury can't even deliberate now. But we're having debates and deliberations all over the internet, but we're not having real conversation. I know what it's like to have an addict in your family. Okay. My dad was an addict, and I saw the night and day in him. When he was an addict, there was some scary things that happened when he was high. When he was sober, completely different person. So when we start talking about Diddy was on all of these drugs, including prescription medications, including fighting depression and who knows what else. Those are real life issues, and those are real life things that will cause behaviors. Now, I'm not saying playing mental manipulation mind games with people comes from being high, but I'm saying these violent tantrums that we're hearing about, these mood swings that we're hearing about, that stuff comes from drug use. Him kicking doors in a house and beating somebody and then telling them, you're not going to F up my night. And then making them perform in a hotel party, a hotel night, a freak off. Hey, you're welcome, sir. Is there a junior? Is there a juror that the prosecutors want removed? Yes, there is. Why? I don't know. But there is a juror that they want off. Now, we could speculate as to why, but as far as having facts, I don't know. And probably won't know until tomorrow. Right. We saw him throwing things, knocking things off the desk. But not only did we see him put hands, feet, and knee bows on Cassie, we watched him throw a vase. So then there's that. And then you also have to add to the fact that this is a man that came from, I don't want to say poverty because he wasn't necessarily a broke child. But number one, he lost his father. It's alleged that his mom had a brothel to make ends meet, but he basically started from the bottom and became self-made. I like to think that all of these dudes that became self-made have a huge ego. Jay-Z has a huge ego. 50 has a huge ego. Russell Simmons has a huge ego, even though he masked it with the way that, he was masking it. I don't know. I didn't hear that Diddy hits his mom. And I'm going to tell you something. Miss Janice, she's at those hearings every day. The kids may miss a day, but Miss Janet, she's missed a couple of days, but she's there. Like you might not see Quincy be off doing him. You might not see King might be off doing him, and Justin is there with Janice, but Mama Combs, she's there. She's there. I don't know. Oh, he did. See, I didn't see that video, so I don't know. Mad New Yorker, I don't know. That's why I said I don't know because I didn't see that video. I don't catch all of Gene's videos. I like when I catch his lives because then if he's live, I'm definitely on it. It's a little harder for me to keep up with the replay because of the way my mind is set up. It's like 300 million tabs open at one time. Okay, thank you. Gene didn't knock anybody out. Mama Combs, I have a video. I don't know if it's on this phone this morning. Mama Combs, let me show y'all. They said they like your smiles. Everybody said hi. They said they like your smiles. There they go. Good morning, King. Good morning. One else. I didn't get it. It's probably on this phone, but I have a video. I was saying good morning to Miss Combs, and she waved at me. And then she seen me in the cafeteria, and she was waving. You talk to her. See, that's something. Being at the courthouse, I'm going to tell y'all. Being at the courthouse, they have a little area where you can go to go eat. And so when we go on breaks, we go down to the cafeteria, and they're in the cafeteria. Justin is in the cafeteria. King is in the cafeteria. Charlucci's in the cafeteria. Mama Combs is in the cafeteria. Like they're in the cafeteria. And if you speak to them, they're going to speak back. They're not snobby or mean or rude or any of that. Justin has such a great energy to him. He really, really has a great energy. King, he seems like he's more reserved. You know what I'm saying? And Quincy just seems like he's, but they will speak to you. You can have a conversation with them. It puts you in a space like you're looking at them, you're watching the trial, you see them in the courtroom, and you're looking at them and you're just like, I wonder what they're going through. I wonder what they're thinking. I wonder how they're feeling. Um, Hell, you may be even wondering, I wonder what they knew. I wonder what they know. There's a lot of stuff that's coming out. You think that they all knew? You got to think about this. His mother and his kids were sitting in there listening to how Cassie was getting peed on by Diddy and one of the escorts and choking on the urine. They're hearing this. They're hearing how Cassie had a black eye, but we told the kids that there was a fight at the club. But in all actuality, it was really their dad that caused Cassie that black eye. It makes you wonder. Let's see how the poll is doing. Ooh, y'all are kind of split right now. We could actually end the poll, but it said, did Diddy set the tape play up with the escorts? 52% of y'all said yes, 41% said it's possible, and only 8% said no. Interesting. Interesting. I don't think they knew everything, but some things for sure. Yeah, I could agree with you on that, Jermaine. I could really agree with you on that. I ain't sipping, I'm smoking. Oh, you smoking? It's a smoke lounge today. I would be in the cafeteria observing. Them kids got to be dealing with a lot. It's a sad situation that proves Diddy didn't have real friends. Diddy don't have real friends. You don't see not one celebrity, not one person that was at a Diddy party. You don't see none of them at the courthouse. None of them have showed up at the courthouse at all in support of him. Nobody. I don't think the kids knew either. Like, they're kids. So I don't think they knew what was going on behind closed doors at all. So for me, it's like, I'm going to speak to the kids. I'm going to speak to the kids. I'm going to speak to his mom because I was taught to respect my elders, and I speak to her. I say good morning to her. I say hello to her. I've been sent to the water table 3 times today. uh, but at the end of the day, it's very interesting to watch this Diddy case play out. You have to be a friend to have a real friend. Christian knew he did the same thing. Well, mm, Christian does have his own lawsuit. But I don't think they knew to the extent of everything that was going on. But they had no problems bumping and dancing at his party. That part. Everybody wanted to be at a Diddy party. Everybody wanted to be there. Nobody showing up to court. Nobody. And I'm there. I'm there. They all got to come out the courthouse some way. Ain't nobody saying that they seen anybody up in the main courthouse. And they damn sure ain't down in the overflow room. Gene Deal be in the overflow with us, honey. Along with ABC News, Entertainment Tonight, Lisa Everts, and a whole bunch of other people be down there in that overflow room. There's 21 seats for press and 14 seats for the public. And them press people, they be paying for them seats. Sometimes them people be paying for them seats. I ain't paying for no seat. If my press pass can't get me into those doors to where I could sit in a press seat, I don't mean harm. I just want to be ratchet with my friends. No more Diddy parties. So Bow Wow started touring again. It would be fun as F if Ellen gets made to come as a comp. Leave Ellen alone. They don't want to be affiliated with Diddy right now. Yeah, nobody wants to be affiliated with him because that's radioactive. That's bad for them. Charlucci is a childhood friend, and honestly, Charlucci is the only one that is there every day. Charlucci is there every single day, and he makes sure that Janice and the kids are good when they're there. That he does. He walks them in and out every day. They're there. He's sitting next to them in the courtroom. He's with them when they're in the cafeteria. Like, if you think you about to run down on one of them, you got another thing coming. You better leave them alone. I wonder where his sister is. Have you seen her? I believe I have, but I'm not going to speak because she definitely has been to the courthouse, but she pretty much keeps a low profile. Diddy said out his mouth he don't know how to have close friends. Well, they aren't there, and that's sad. When the whole industry wants to be your friend when you're up, but when you're down, you ain't got nobody there. You know what? Not locking up like crabs bumping. Now I see why you going to the water table. This trial was a total waste. They needed to bring these people forward. All these rats that jumped ship. Who cares about his sex life? Bring justice for those kids. What kids, Francis? And let me tell you this: that sex life thing. We were in R. Kelly's sex life. We in Harvey Weinstein's sex life. In Epstein's sex life. What's the difference? I'm just asking. I'm not being smart. I'm asking. Right. Bill Cosby's sex life. My thing is, if we're going to say that, then we need to look at all of that too. Regardless, all of that needs to be examined as well. Jermaine said, don't forget Bill Cosby. Thank you, Jermaine, for the super chat. RICO, kidnapping Capricorn Clark, bribery. Well, actually, it's blackmail of Cassie's mom for $20K, bribery for an obstruction of justice for the $100K from the security guard for the tape, witness tampering. Well, that would also be witness tampering as well. Transportation, and then drug possession with intent to distribute. You're right. You just broke all of that down. You can be kinky all you want. I just wonder, has he ever thought about his daughters being treated like, I don't know. I don't even want to think about that. He gave the money back to Cassie's mom, but that's not the point. The point is he took it. He blackmailed her and it was sent to him. That's the problem. Sending it back don't mean nothing. That's like if I rob a bank and then go back and say, you know what, here. It doesn't matter. I robbed the bank. It's the same premise here. So that's why I say, a lot of people will be like, I don't see the RICO, this, that, and the third. And dealing in obscene matters talks about his sex life. Go look dealing in obscene matters up. That's a RICO act. That deals with engaging in commercial sex. Commercial sex means that you tell somebody, if you do this for me, I'm going to give you this. You're giving somebody something of value for sex. If it was for a contractual service he wanted reimbursement for. Right, Henny, it doesn't matter. And it went into his enterprise. It came from his business enterprise account. You can hide. It doesn't change anything. Hide what? I don't know what you're talking about. You can hide. Uniquely. Uniquely. Oh, I didn't see the missing kids. I just saw you can hide, but whatever. And that's why I'm like, you can hide. What? What are you talking about? Thank you for clarifying that. If your friend stole something from your house, then returned it 4 days later, did he still steal it? Come on, man. Right. Oh my God, just realized it wasn't your hair behind you. It was the that's the sketch of Jane Doe. You thought that was all my hair? What you smoking on? Or what you sipping on? Because I need to know. Don't she said I got a chopper in the trunk. Oh my God. But all right, you guys. Why they got her looking like Miss Potato Head? Because they can't show who she is, so they black out her face. They did the same thing to Mia because they're not allowed to sketch what she looks like. You thought it was my hair too? Yo, I don't know what y'all are smoking on, but why would my hair be sitting up so high like that? This is my hair right here, guys. I have locks. I have locks. I don't have straight hair. Why they got patches on her hair? What you mean patches? Well, where the light was shining. This is where the light was reflecting on her hair. Oh, you talking about here, this spottiness? Probably from what they were using to color it in. Not her Timu outfit. I'm done. Y'all cutting up. Listen, I'm about to go, y'all. I've been on here for over an hour with you guys. Okay. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in. Tomorrow, court starts late, so I will be late. Okay. I'm going to sleep late. Okay. I'll see y'all in the next video. Thank y'all so much. Please be sure that you have your notifications on because I will start going horizontal live very soon. This way, the regular way. But I love y'all. Y'all have a good night. Love is always love, you guys. Peace, everybody.